Hello everybody, back on the trail in Utah after my 8-day trek through Georgia. I made it back in this morning. This afternoon I'm out on a beautiful freaking day here in the winter, hiking a trail. I did a climb today because I consider it part of my beginning of season training. Anyhow, my trip to Georgia for the past 8 days has me thinking about going back and forth. In fact, there's a song by Devo called Back and Forth. It might be called Jerking Back and Forth, but anyhow, I really love the song, and the song isn't particularly relevant to this message, but still it's interesting. So think about back and forth. So I was in Georgia and I visited a lot of places where I used to live, and I met some people who I used to hang out with. I spent some time with my mom and I did spend time with my mom, but with my dad and his wife in Gainesville, Georgia. I used to live in Gainesville. I used to live in Macon. I used to live in McDonough. I was able to go through all those places as part of my work. And it has me thinking about the balance between thinking and living in the past versus looking and planning and living in the present and the future. Present is the only place where you get to step into the future, and then the moment you do, literally, you're doing it all over again. So I have found through my experience that there are many, and I don't know if many means a majority, I don't think it does, but there are many times folks get stuck in living in the past. And their emotions get stuck in a moment of time where either something good or bad happened, and they kind of stagnate in that moment. And as a result of that stagnation, they really don't demonstrate growth, change, or seize potential opportunities that could enhance their lives, their families, etc. And I love the old saying about the rear view mirror in the car and the windshield. The rear view mirror is much smaller, but we do have to pay attention to what is behind us, in essence, what is in our past, and we use the big wide windshield to look at where we're going as we drive. And I think that's a general good rule of thumb for us in our lives. There's nothing wrong with remembering and enjoying and maybe even bemoaning briefly, not living in bemoaning things of the past. My opinion is it is very important to recognize the past, because like for me in particular, and even in my time in Georgia, it made a big difference as to who I am and where I am right now. However, for me, what works best is to be thinking in the now and working towards something positive and manifesting something positive for the future. And I think one of the anchors for many of us in this is when our emotions are controlling our mind and our body. And I think we can get easily stuck where our emotions are the ones driving the ship, and they result in that stagnation that I was talking about. Anyhow, that's what I've been thinking about. I invite you to think about the past, the present, and the future, and see what balance seems to make sense for you. And I invite you, and I'll include it in a link on my blog, to listen to the song by Devo, if you are so inclined. If you don't like Devo, don't bother. Anyhow, that's what I have for today, and I'll see you next time on the trail.